Chris Pender for Above Average Black Men. Check us out on Wednesday nights on SpiritualConnectRadio.com with my hosts, Chris Pender Jr. and Devin Pender. Check us out on Above Average Black Men. Nothing is average about this show. As my dad always told me, either you rise to the occasion or you shrink to your circumstances. On our show, we encourage you, challenge you, and inspire you to rise to the occasion. Peace.
They over there cracking up, man.
He's so proud of that. He could not.
Were you outside?
Wait. He could not wait. How long did it take you? How long did it take? Like he's like the birds, like that was natural, like that wasn't even part of it. That was outside the house.
I was communing with nature,
vacation
man.
or something?
No, I was communing with nature. Nah, you know we got birds all over the place, man.
Yeah, man.
You know.
It sounded good though. Like I'm not gonna lie.
You're missing a running stream in the background.
Right.
People will pay for that special effect, man. The birds in the background,
Zen.
it's calming.
That-
You know, it's calming.
I almost don't believe that was at the house. Like that's not.
No, I mean, you know, look, I could have got the deer running across the back with a visual and
We
everything.
need a video next time. I like that.
Well, we are back live, Spiritual Connect Radio. We had our special guest, Don Curry. We're going to have him back. Teacher, professional athlete, collegiate athlete, dad, as Justin would say, superhero.
Yeah.
You know, fits all those molds, man. And definitely an above average black man. But I do want to say this show is not just confined to above average black men. I want to make sure we share that, man. And we invite everybody to participate. We see that. And I agree with it because we all know the image of black men right now is greatly tarnished, man.
Yes.
If you look at the social justice that's happening in this country, we're going to do a show on social justice. If we look at Black Lives Matters, we see that people are not saying Black Lives Matter more. What we're saying is that right now it actually matters less. You know, that, you know, you can kill a black person and get away with it.
And then try to bring up all these crazy other things that try to dehumanize.
So I want to make that clear. You know, that this show is not about color lines, but we just want to highlight that there's so many African American males, man, taking care of business.
Yes.
Doing what they're supposed to do. You know, and from the hood. You know, so I want to make sure.
Yeah, take your image back. We gotta control that.
And I like that term. I do like that term. Take your image back.
You gotta take your image back.
So we're back here live, man, and we got two Cheltenham graduates here, man.
I don't know why you said that, but yeah.
No, because I want to get there because I said that because I want people to understand how your purpose impacts other people.
Yeah.
You know, and me pursuing my purpose provided me the ability to move you to a better neighborhood and put you in a better school system. You know, it gave me that thing. I think sometimes we forget, you know, how our purpose is not just about us. Like if you listen to Dom, he talks about his kids and his situation, you know, he talks about his girlfriend. His purpose impacts everybody around him. And I think we forget that. I think a lot of times people forget that when you pursue your purpose, man, and you're moving that lane, it impacts other people.
It's interesting. I feel like definitely got to take that into account, into perspective, even in kind of relationships and dating. You know, you gotta kind of take account into that for purpose. But I know prior to us coming back on air, like you might have had a question for Devin, or to something to get back into, right?
Oh, explaining purpose and everything like that. Because we were talking about earlier, and like how I previously felt lost. So.
Come on, we gotta get that bass in the way. Pick it up all the way over there.
I'm just saying. So, pretty much, more about me. Like I'm the youngest, so you know I'm going off of what my dad does, or seeing what my brother, my mom, my sister do, different things like that. So I know they all had a purpose, or they looked like they had a purpose growing up. But that was something like I never, really experienced up until maybe a couple years ago. Because I knew, like, I always had an idea for a show like this. Like, I always wanted to start a podcast and just to talk about different topics and everything. But, just the way I kind of went about it was wrong, if that makes sense. Like, there wasn't much planning involved, different things like that. But it's funny, like, getting to talk to my dad and my brother and, like, seeing, like, they were thinking the same thing. We had like minds, that kind of just made that purpose grow. Like we all had a common goal. That's why we're here.
And it's funny how the purpose all kind of, in a way, is in line. I know you kind of shared a lot of your background earlier, how you got into working with kids.
Yeah.
mean, for me, it was like seeing you do that, you know, you having camps and me being a counselor there and just almost like having a good time and like feeling like the best experience I got out of it was seeing those kids later. And you were talking about
crazy.
how the purpose and like seeing that impact for people around you. And I mean, again, I think when I think about my purpose and like how you say you talk a lot, I don't feel like I necessarily talk a lot, but when I do, like, you know, I feel like it's impactful.
That impact your life.
Yeah, he does.
I don't feel like I don't feel like
He gets
I
it from somewhere.
I don't feel like I talk
From his
a
mom.
lot. But no, I just feel like I do want to kind of share experiences and talk about life and challenge how people think. And I got a lot of that from kind of working with kids growing up and getting into coaching at one point in time. Like that was really my passion. I still feel like it's my passion. Like so.
But some of your greatest impact stories wasn't about the game in coaching. It was about the impact you had on the kids.
Yeah.
And so, like, Ted Josie's a guy who you know, you met Ted, and Ted and I go way back. I remember when I first met Ted, I spoke at a steering meeting. He was like, hey, why don't you come out and check out my camp? I went and checked out the camp, and he said, hey, what do you think? And I kind of looked at him. He said, well, tell me the truth. I said, well, you know, Ted, I don't think it's that good. He said, can you do better? Me being cocky, never designed me. I said, yeah. He said, okay, I need you to come up with something in a week. And hype was born. You know, and I remember sitting down with him, going over the proposal. He said, great proposal, but I'm gonna tell you, this is my expectation from you. I expect your word to be your bond. I expect you to deliver what's on this piece of paper. He said, you and I can be friends, but this is business. And he laid the groundwork for our relationship. And to this day, he's been a mentor. We're great friends. I respect him. And he has that leeway to correct me, you know, and to challenge me. So his purpose and what he was doing got me start, you know, helped me get to where I am today. So
I didn't mean to cut you
No,
off.
go ahead.
But I had another kind of interesting question here, because you just mentioned in reference kind of a mentor. Dom also mentioned and referenced that tonight as well. And again, do you feel like that is something that is important for when you are chasing or following your purpose? You know, is that whether you think you found it, or is it something, you know, kind of like somebody you might even just you find along the way, put you in that place? Because Dom's in that situation almost. It was somebody he knew that kind of started to guide him.
I think it's a combination of three things. One, I think it can be somebody you find. I think two, it can be somebody who finds you. You know,
and just like sees potential.
And I think like Ted Josie kind of found me. You know, and he saw something in me. You know, that he was willing to take and, you know, nurture and water and grow and stretch and, you know, be prepared to go through some tough times, because I was still wet behind the ear. You know, and I think the third thing about it is, though, I think you have to be open to it. You have to be open to understanding, man, that I know what I don't know. And you have to be open to having somebody and giving them permission to be totally transparent. Like, look, you know, hey, you screwed up. You know, you need to do better. That wasn't a good choice. And I think, you know, in church we call them accountability partners. But I think a lot of marriages fail because people don't challenge the men like, yo, that's wrong. You know, and I always say this, and I say it to you and I say it to my kids that I deal with, and I call them my kids. I always explain to them, man, see, your friends should never let you fail. Your friends should never be encouraged you to do something that's going to mess up your life. And I think it's the same thing when you look for a mentor. You have a mentor or somebody that's going to work with you needs to be somebody that has permission to correct you, but it's only going to correct you in the right things. You know, not encourage you to do bad things and not you know, applaud you and not pacify you. That's what a mentor does. You know, and I think it's important to have one because they're going to know things you don't know. I think I look at you two guys and I look at Nicole. The thing I'm most proud about the three of you guys is because you took what I had and you took it with your own gifts, and then you're and my mom used to get mad when I say it, but you're better than me. That's what mentoring is about. Mentoring and true leadership is about investing what you have in somebody else. They're taking your gifts and their gifts and they're exceeding you. That's what it's about. And I think that's why you need one, because they can give you things that you don't have to add to what you already have. And I think that's how you pursue excellence. That's how you get better.
So let me dig a little deeper in that and ask, like, where do you think the problem comes from? You know, a lot of people have friends that are necessarily yes men, instead of like you said, taking that accountability or being transparent with someone. Like, why do you think, you know, a lot of people lack that
It's an
nowadays?
easy one, because one thing about you guys, and if you think about it, I've always told you that you're individuals. I've always encouraged you to find your own path. When you decided to play volleyball, when everybody else played basketball, what did I tell you? Find your own path, man. You know, same thing with you. Find your own path. I think that the problem we have now is we've raised a generation of people who care what other people think, to the point
Way
where
too much.
to the point where they'll do something wrong just to be friends with somebody. They'll do something wrong just to stay, you know, in a group of people. And to me, I say this all the time. I got all the friends I need in this world. If God bless me with more friends, so be it. You know, but I have people who are real friends. You know, and you know how often I say this. My motto is always us against the world, man. So it's the five of us, yo, bring it on. I'm okay with that. So you have to be okay with not always being accepted. Because being accepted by a group of people that's leading you in the wrong direction, you know, that's part of the definition of insanity. So I think it's important, man, that you are confident enough in who you are, man, and say, look, hey, you know, it's like when I work with kids and somebody telling me I'm wasting my time. That's a challenge to me. That's a challenge to me. Because I'm always thinking, even if I don't reach this kid today, he's gonna remember what I said. Somewhere down the line, that light's gonna click on. You know, I may not see it, but that's a success. You know, remember Kathleen, I don't know if you remember, the Caucasian girl who hated camp. She complained every day. Remember her? She used to go out with, the stocky little black guy.
Into it. Yeah, you're like providing a lot of details, but I do know who that is.
But I'm just saying, I saw her mom in the mall one day, and her mom walked up to me. It's a funny story because she was following me around.
Mm-hmm.
And I was about to go off because I'm thinking, this old security lady
Karen,
followed me around the store, man. And I turned around, and she said, she said, your name is Mr. Pender, right? I said, yeah. She said, because of you, my daughter graduated college. And I'm like, I don't know this lady. You know, and your mom was looking at me. You know, like, how you know this lady? And then she began to explain who it was. And that was a girl who hated, remember, came because of $500.
Yeah.
But something happened in that camp. I don't know what it was. I can't even say it was me. It could have been your math class. Something happened in that camp and hype that inspired her to graduate and go to college and get a college degree.
I mean, potentially just being around other people that were doing different things, you know, introducing them to things outside of what they're accustomed to, you know.
But that's purpose.
Just being around people that care, though.
No, but that's
like,
purpose.
We don't want anything from you other than to just help you.
And that's what happens when you live your purpose. You may not see the results or the impact you're having on somebody else. But if you live in your life and you're pursuing your purpose, you are influencing somebody. Somebody is watching you. How do you handle the situation? How do you handle your anger? How do you handle your disappointment? You know, how do you handle the situation? You know, what makes you continue to keep, you know, as my favorite saying, keep pushing the stone. You know, I tell the story when you used to go in and shoot 100 jump shots a day, we had a key to the gym. You know, I know I tell how hard you worked at volleyball, you know, and you gotta have that, something inside you has to say, man, like you know what, this is what I have to do. Not I want to do, not I choose to, this is what I have to do. That's purpose.
Question for you, this is kind of random, still purpose related. Do you feel like your purpose has to be money driven?
No.
Like I know it doesn't, but I just wanted to bring up that question specifically because I feel like some people might occasionally cross the two, you know, and think that your purpose is your job, or like, you know, I gotta get this career, like I gotta get to the top of this mountain and get this money, like that's my purpose.
Let me say this, and you know, not without getting deep and spiritual, but I want to take it to the spiritual side because that's who I am.
You know, I mean, we are on spiritual.
No, but okay. You know, but I'm gonna take it to, because you know that's who I am. You know, I honestly believe if you pursue your purpose in Christ, He'll supply what you need. Now, it doesn't mean you're gonna be rich, but you'll get what you need. You'll get what you have. You know, He will take care of you. You know, I'm not by no means rich, but if I was talking to somebody the other day, and we were laughing and joking because if you look at our qualifications and what I've accomplished today, you couldn't do it with my credentials today. You know, you would have to have so many more credentials than I have to do what I'm doing. That's the way society is now. But because I was pursuing my purpose, because I fought at it and I worked at it, I worked through it, you know, those doors opened up for me. And they're still open. You know, we were talking about the other day, they're still open up. I got people coming to me saying, give me a proposal for this, give me a proposal for that. So they're opening up. And so I think when you pursue your purpose, those things come. The problem is when you pursue those things, you miss your purpose because now you're chasing the wrong thing. So I think when you pursue your purpose, all the other stuff that you're looking for comes with it. You know, because your mom and I can sit down and have these conversations, and we have two totally different visions when it comes to certain things. But because she understands it's my purpose, you know, and because she sees what purpose does, she supports my purpose. Now, that doesn't mean she got to do the same thing. It just means she has a role to play in it. And I think because she's come to understand that when you pursue your purpose, all those other things you want come. You know, where you can do things and not have to rob Peter to pay Paul. You know, when you can, you know, have a nice car, have a nice house, you know, and I'm not rich by any means, but God has provided all those things because I stay in my purpose. You know, I could have stayed in corporate America and been an accountant and probably made some good money by now. You know, may have made more money, but doesn't mean I would have had what I have. So for me, I think purpose, you know, my godly purpose is the key to everything I have and everything I do and everything I attempt to do. And I tell people all the time when they ask me, you know, I have my shirt today with the Nike symbol on it, man. It says just praise him. And everybody gets close, they think it says just, you know, they're looking for the just do it slogan. You know, but
I think we're gonna get sued.
yeah, but to me, if you decide that I'm gonna pursue my purpose, all those other things you desire come with it.
Mm-hmm.
They come with it. Because when you and your purpose, you do, like I give you the perfect example. The job you had that you hated. You hated going to every Sunday versus the job you now have that you love, that fits your personality,
yeah.
that's close to your purpose. But look at the benefits that come with it though.
I know.
You get promoted, you don't see. See, that's what happens when you move in, you know, when God gives us all these gifts. And we all have these gifts and talents that so many people never tap into. Because they chase the wrong things, or they allow somebody else to define them.
And just kind of talking about what you just referenced, just related to my job, and like again, tied all into this conversation of like opening yourself up to new experiences and like putting yourself in a position to something that you don't think you would necessarily do. Like I worked for a finance company, hated it, terrible. Feel like I'm making people money and they not paying me a dime worth of like what I felt like I was doing. But wanting to get out of there, I knew I didn't want to do finance. Part of me before was like, I don't want to do customer service because you know people just calling you to complain. That's what you think about customer service. But I don't know, something in me was like, you know what, open yourself up to this, stretch out. I like people. I don't mind talking to people. Why wouldn't I do customer service? So I kind of just opened myself up to the idea of doing that, put my resume out there, and you know where I am now found me, and it was like the perfect position for me to be in.
But that's what happens when you pursue your purpose. You know, because I've pursued money before, and it doesn't make you happy. Jess and I, you know, I give a shout out to Jess and Lamar, our standing comedian who's not, our house comedian who's not with us tonight. But and he talked about it, man. He talked about it. I was looking at the video, and it's funny because he says, you know, some of his cousins are gonna be mad at him, you know, because you know one thing I don't know if he really understood what he was saying, but see, everybody is not supposed to be on your journey, and when you pursue your purpose, those people will fall off. You gotta let them fall off.
Yeah.
Most of us, we holding on to people, man. We hold them around us, and you so busy holding their hand, they weighing you down.
And I had to learn that too, because it's like, you know, you get attached to people, you think you're supposed
It's
to take
human nature.
everybody,
It's
right?
human
You're
nature.
supposed to
Yes,
take
and
everybody
it's
for the
people-
ride.
And there's people especially like
Yeah.
from when you were younger in elementary school. And listen, not everyone is meant to, you know, take that trip with you.
Because if that's not, if you're headed
Separate the
somewhere,
emotions.
that's just like if you came to me and said, we want to do this show, Dad. And remember, we had two different names at first. Remember, my name was You Got the Power, you know, and you guys said, well,
It's like
Dad,
the 90s.
we think, no, it was just basically meant that I wanted people to understand they have the power to change themselves.
Mm-hmm.
You know, to stop relying on everybody else to tell them who they are and what they can do. And so what I'm saying is, you know, it would have been easy for me to say, well, I can get the show, I can get this in the studio, this we're gonna do.
Mm-hmm.
But when you understand your person and who you are, you listen to people. You know what I mean? You hear what people have to say, and you can discern, okay, well, that's not a bad idea. You know, it's not that my idea sucked, but that's a better idea. Well, you know what? That's a different approach. For me, it was like, okay, especially when you explain what you were trying to do, and I was sharing this with the kids today, I was like, you know, my sons came up with this concept, and they were able to explain to me the demographic, you know, the population we were trying to hit and why. Because I had them answer that question.
Mm-hmm.
For those of you who don't know, I taught a class today and had a group of kids develop their own radio show. And I had them come up with a name, they had to come up with a format, and they had to come up with a why. Why are you doing this? You know, and that's the part that they all struggle with.
Yeah.
You know, and then they had to come up with, you know, the demographic population, and then they had to come up with, you know, who could they get to advertise. So they had to start thinking about this stuff. Like, you know, like one kid came to me and said, well, we're gonna sell Zion Williams some sneakers. So I said,
Nike already doing that.
so I said, well, no. So I said, who are you going to sell them to? He said, we're gonna sell another basketball player. So I said, think about that. You know, other than Michael Jordan, you don't see basketball players wearing another basketball player's sneaker. So I said, but I was able to work with them through the process, and they discovered, like, you know what? I said, well, who buy? I said, look around this classroom. That's your demographic. I said, me, I'm not buying LeBron James. Everybody in this room who think they can play, they want to buy it. So I say that because when you understand your purpose, you hear people, you don't tell people what to do, you help people find their way. You know what I mean? I could have told the kid that's a dumb idea, and this is what, no, but you walk them through the process. And those are when you know your purpose, it impacts other people, because now this kid is like the light bulb is on. He's like, well, yeah, well, tell me something else. So we end up talking about, supply and demand. We started talking about economics. So that's your purpose, to opens those doors for you.
Yeah.
And it's different for everybody. Some people don't just try. I say this all the time. Man, I got married at 22, going on 35 years. Man, I didn't grow up till I was 30. And y'all too young to realize that.
That's crazy.
I didn't grow up till I was like 30. Man. Yeah.
I mean, just I be feeling like, yo,
What was
like,
that
they
doing at
just like,
22?
yeah. I was like, was they just way more mature than me? Like, am I like just
No.
really selling in right now at this
No.
age of 30?
We about to
But
wrap
then
it up,
sometimes
but
I do
no.
think about it too, because I do remember going to the softball games and baseball, basketball.
Yeah, man.
You know what I mean?
I was
So-
still playing like I was gonna be discovered,
Yeah,
man.
so
I was in
like I do
basketball
when
league,
I
South
think
City
about
Pro
that,
League.
yeah, I'm like I'm there.
Yeah,
but
I was getting it all. Yeah.
that was important to me because like
Yeah.
I look at that, I was like, well, I'm about to do this too. Like, and I saw the other
Like
guys.
Superman.
Yeah, communal.
But I didn't grow up
Family.
till I was like 30, and it cost me. Looking back on it, didn't cost me anything that I shouldn't use to say worthwhile, but it cost me some relationships, because when I decided to make that switch, you got some people, oh man, they hit you. No, this is what I got to do. This is what I got to do. It's time for me to grow up and be a better dad, be a better husband, be those things, and for me to start pursuing some real dreams other than playing sports. And people don't understand it. But you gotta be willing, and I'm not gonna say pay the price. You gotta be willing to lose some in your investment. And it's just like when you play the stock market, it goes up and down. You gotta be willing to lose some stuff, man, because there's some people, man, who they just don't want to change, man. They don't understand your purpose. They want to party all the time. They want to get high all the time, or they don't save. It's just things they don't get what you're trying to get to. And if you're trying to be somewhere, and you're trying to move to that next level, you got to get rid of some of the weight. My family was always full of stories, and I remember my grandmother used to always tell me this about it. She said, and she got it from somewhere else. I know she did. She said, eagles, they can fly higher than any other bird. And she said, one day this eagle was flying. This crow decided we're gonna get this eagle. So these 3 crows jumped on the eagle's back. And they pecking the eagle, and the eagle's not fighting back. He's just going high. And they trying to figure out, well, oh man, I told you he was soft, I told you so. Eventually they started to fall off. And they fell off because he went higher. He went so high.
Elevation they can't
and they couldn't
maintain.
go. And it's like that, when you're trying to be successful in your purpose, you're gonna elevate above people that can't stay with you. The problem it is, most of us go back down to get them. No, if you're going up and they can't, they're not supposed to be there. I'm not saying that you still can't be friends, but they're not supposed to be there. And that's okay. That's okay, because the eagles don't fly with turkeys. That's okay. And I think that's the problem most people have. They can't ascend because they're too busy trying to take their friends with them. And you have to decide, man, like, hey, man, this is what I want. I'm willing to pay the cost. And there's certain things that come with the cost. Yeah, I didn't miss out on them, but the parties and stuff they went to, man, they would tell me about it. They were still playing ball, calling me up, yo, man, we could use you. I run into them in the store, oh, man, you could be playing, and so on. So, and hey. So I think, at the time you think you're losing something, but at the end of the day, man, those little sacrifices, man, mean a whole lot more at the end of the road. I look at the fact, look how close we are, including Nicole. How many people doing
Yeah,
this?
get her on the show.
I'm about to say we gotta have
We gotta get
a
Nicole.
How many people are
Now
doing
it's like,
this?
man,
So I say that, but we got a couple minutes left, so 8:23, so we can close out. We may want to turn it off now, because that's been a long time, man.
that's cool.
But yeah, so you guys can take these last 7 minutes to close out. Whatever you want to say, however you want to say it, go.
Real quick, just closing thoughts. I just want to touch back on what these guys were talking about, especially on dropping some people from your lives if they don't necessarily have the same purpose or vision as you, or they're not eating to help that purpose or vision. It's definitely, some people I've lost along the way that, in doing that, it's helped me understand my purpose, and it has helped me, got to this point. So I just necessarily want to say, it's not always a bad thing, losing people. Sometimes it's just for a better purpose. Sometimes it's written in the cards. Sometimes it's, in order for you to succeed, you are going to have to let go of some people, and there's nothing wrong with that.
That's great. So for me, I mean, a lot that's been on my mind lately, and just something that I've been doing that I feel like has been kind of good for my mental health and just making me feel just a lot more happier and better and not holding on to things, is honestly just questioning myself. And not in a term like, like, should I eat this? What do I look like today? Like questioning, why does this make me feel a certain way? Should I feel this way about certain things? Like when people say something, like, is that in line with my purpose or like my goals? Like, should I be holding on to certain things that people say or feel a certain type of way? So I feel like a lot of times we live in this PC culture now where people just get set off by everything. You gotta almost tiptoe on what you have to say. But then, like, I think a lot of people nowadays, we need to take a step back and just look internally, like, why do I feel this way about this? Like, is it really that deep? Like, is this in line with my purpose? Like, all of these other emotions and things that I'm holding on to. So, again, I think my main thing is, again, just start some self-reflection, man. Start to question, are the things that you're doing, are the things that you're feeling, are the things that you're saying in line with your purpose and goals? That's it.
I mean, I have 4 questions that I ask the young people that I deal with. And one of the first questions I ask them is, why are you here? Not in the studio, but that's why are you here? And they'll stop and think. The next question I ask them is, what do you want out of life? The next question I ask them is, how you plan on getting it? Do you have a plan, to go after what you want? And the 4th question I ask them is, because the other 3 don't matter, is do you know who you are? If I ask you to tell me who you are without you using your name or title, could you do it? And I tell them, see, I could change my name to Rufus. It's not going to change who I am. Who I am is much deeper than the name that I was given when I was born. And most of us, we struggle with those 4 questions, and we never ask ourselves those questions, so we struggle in life. It's important, and we'll close on this. When I run my men's group, one of the first things I tell them is develop a vision statement for your life. And if you got a family, what's the vision statement for your family, man? Where do you see your family at, man? What are you trying to accomplish? It can change, but we need something to look at and to refer to, and challenge us. Because what's going to happen is when you start pursuing your purpose, you're going to see things that other people don't see. And if you don't have a vision statement, if you don't have something that keeps you focused, when everybody's trying to talk you out of it and try to talk you into doing different things, you get distracted. The next thing you know, you never really accomplishing anything. And it's important, man, because sometimes there's people around you will come to you and say, well, why are you doing it?
Yeah.
Why are you wasting your time? You should be doing this. And the kiss of death is when somebody says, if I was you, because that's typically a person that ain't got squat. But they always say, if I was you.
That's true.
So as we close, I just think you got to know, man, who are you? Why are you here? What do you want out of life, man, and how are you going to get there? Because most of us, we want to change, but we don't put the work in it takes to change. On my FamCom shirt, what does it say? Do better to be better.
I mean,
most of us,
some people expect other people to change.
Well, we want to be better, but we don't want to do better. But I want to close out, man. I want to say, guys, thank you for our first Wednesday night show.
Thanks to Dom.
Yeah.
Sliding through.
Shout out to Dom Curry.
Yeah,
man. Out. And shout out to a few people. My man Jeff Jones, who sent me a text, who sent a picture of us. That's who sent the text. Jeff Jones, man. You remember Jeff?
Yeah.
You know, to him, man, shout out to the people who gave. I can't see that far away, so I don't know who put the comments up there. But shout out to you. Invite somebody, man. Our goal is to get this show up to 1,500. We want at least 1,500 followers.
I like the ambition.
1,500 is it, man.
Shout out to everyone
We
that
need 1,500
Like
followers,
it,
man.
share
We
it,
need you to tell your
subscribe.
friends. We need you to tell your nieces,
mom.
nephews. You got somebody, and we take topics. So you can send me topics on Facebook and send them topics, man. Devin, give them the Instagram to me, my brother.
And don't be afraid to follow us on Instagram at Above Average BM. That's Above Average BM for Above Average Black Man. A squared BM. Just so you know.
I like that she distinguished the BM stand.